The 2021 quarterback draft class was built as one of the best quarterback draft classes in a while. They had guys who ranged from generational prospects, guys who were raw, but in the end they had all the talent necessary to be a great quarterback, and then they had guys who just came out of nowhere in one season and established themselves as one of the top quarterbacks in that draft class. When you look at that draft class now and considering all the hype it had, I think it's easy to say that it has not lived up to the hype quite yet. Does it still have a chance to, be better in the future? Yes, but as of right now in this current time, that hype for that draft class is slowly going down. There was no debate on who was quarterback one coming into this draft class because everybody knew it was Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence was pretty much successful in all his years at Clemson, led his team to an 11-0 record, passed for over 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, while in the process, he led his team to the college football playoffs where he would beat Alabama to win the championship. Same thing in 2019, passed for over 3,000 yards, 36 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, leading his team to a 14-1 record. He also ran the ball 103 times for 563 yards and 9 touchdowns as well. Unfortunately, he would lose in the championship game to one of the greatest college teams of all time in the LSU Tigers. His stats would dip a little bit in 2020 as it was a COVID year and Trevor Lawrence would miss a few games. Regardless though, he would still pass for over 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, while running the ball 68 times for 203 yards and 8 touchdowns. Lawrence would have a very underwhelming rookie year with the Jaguars for a lot of reasons. Number one, he had Urban Meyer as his head coach, one of the worst head coaches of all time in the NFL. And number two, he had one of the worst receiving corps in the league. They had the most drops out of any receiving corps combined. That is setting him up for failure in so many ways. He finished the season throwing for over 3,000 yards, 12 touchdowns to 17 interceptions, along with 5 fumbles, which had a combined 22 turnovers in total for him. After this season, the Jaguars would end up doing a complete wipe of their team. They would fire Urban Meyer and bring in former Eagles Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Peterson. They would also revamp their receiving corps, bringing in former Cardinals wide receiver Christian Kirk, former Giants tight end Evan Ingram, and former Raiders wide receiver Zay Jones. This in return would help Trevor Lawrence out a lot as he threw for over 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, while also running the ball for over 291 yards and 5 touchdowns as well. The fumbles continue to be an issue for Trevor Lawrence as he fumbled the ball 12 times and lost 9 of them. Lawrence will lead the Jaguars to a 9-8 record, a playoff berth, in the AFC South title. In his first playoff game, Lawrence would throw 4 interceptions in the first half. However, he would rally his team back in the second half, throwing 4 more touchdowns to give the Jaguars a 31-30 victory over the Chargers in his first playoff game. Obviously, he would come up short in the second round against the eventual Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, the Jaguars have a 6-3 record, and you could argue not a lot of that is on Trevor Lawrence at this point. Trevor Lawrence has currently passed for over 2,000 yards, has 9 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, but once again, the problems remain the same for Trevor Lawrence. He has 7 fumbles this year and has lost 4 of them, as fumbles continue to be an issue for Trevor Lawrence, just like the last 2 years of his career. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence has been a bust, because he's not been anywhere close to a bust, but I don't think he's played like a generational prospect quite yet. But he's 24 years old, he still has a chance to, and obviously, he's still far and wide the best quarterback from this draft class regardless. The second quarterback will be taken only a pick later by the New York Jets, and that would be BYU quarterback Zack Wilson. Zack Wilson would build his draft stock off of one good year at BYU, where he passed for over 3,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He would lead that BYU team for 10-1 record, with the one loss coming against another ranked team in Coastal Carolina. That's my boys, by the way. Coastal, go Coastal. Wilson's first year with the Jets would be just like how you expected it to be. He would start 13 games, missing 4 due to a knee injury, but he would pass for over 2,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Like I said, kind of like how you expected it. He's a rookie going to the Jets who was still in the mix of a rebuild. You weren't expecting him to do much of anything, really. A lot of people expected a lot out of Zack Wilson in his sophomore season with the Jets. They brought in Garrett Wilson, they improved the offensive line a little bit, and they were expecting him to break out at least in some type of way this season. But except that wouldn't happen. Zack Wilson missed the first 3 games of the 2022 season after he suffered a meniscus tear in the preseason opener against the Philadelphia Eagles. He would make his debut in Week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and although he threw 2 interceptions, he would lead the team to a 24-20 victory in his first game back. The Jets would then proceed to go on a 4-game winning streak after this victory. The most crazy part about this winning streak, Zack Wilson didn't throw a single touchdown pass during this time span. The streak would eventually come to an end against the New England Patriots. However, they would pull off a huge upset victory against the Buffalo Bills right after that. Then after this is where everything for Zack Wilson started to fall apart. In a heavily defensive-oriented game against the New England Patriots, Zack Wilson would go 9 for 22 for 77 yards, 0 touchdowns, but also 0 interceptions. Patriots would end up winning that game after Marcus Jones got a late punt return touchdown in the 4th quarter. For the game, Zack Wilson was asked this.
As an offense, though, I mean, when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No.
And at that moment, that's where everything for Zack Wilson will fall apart. Rob Saleh would pretty much lose faith in Zack Wilson, and he would bench him in order to start backup quarterback Mike White. White would then proceed to pass for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in a 31-10 victory over the Chicago Bears. However, Mike White would suffer an injury against the Buffalo Bills that would keep him out, and Zack Wilson would manage to get his spot back. But nothing really changed. The Jets continued to lose, and Zack Wilson wasn't really playing all that well either. Against the Jaguars, he would pass for over 92 yards and was clearly struggling. He would end up getting benched for Chris Streveler in that game. Wilson would pretty much get benched for the rest of the year, and that is when you could tell the Jets had pretty much lost all faith in him. He would then bring in multiple-time MVP quarterback Aaron Rodgers, but tragedy would strike in the first drive of the game against the Buffalo Bills in Week 1. Aaron Rodgers would tear his Achilles, putting him out for the rest of the season, at least so it seems. Wilson would help lead the Jets to a comeback victory over the Buffalo Bills after he went 14 for 21 for 140 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Zack Wilson has improved a lot since last year. Like, he's not obviously playing like an MVP level quarterback or anything like that. He's not necessarily putting up even above average numbers, but he's improved in pretty much every asset. He's been more accurate with the ball, he's made better decisions, and he's playing better football this year. I mean, some of you may look at Zack Wilson's stats and say he hasn't improved. He's passed for over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But if you actually watch him play, he has definitely improved a lot over the past couple months. Time will tell regardless if Zack Wilson can still be a solid quarterback in this league, or if he's just an average quarterback like everybody is saying he is. But regardless, he's probably going to lose his spot to Aaron Rodgers once he's healthy. He's probably going to be demotivated to backup. But like I said before, though, he has a chance. A small chance, but he has a chance. Next quarterback would once again be taking a pick later, and that would be North Dakota State University quarterback Trey Lance, taken 3rd overall by the 49ers. The 49ers had just traded up their 2021, their 2022, and 2023 first-round picks in order to get Trey Lance in this draft. Most people thought they were going to pick Alabama quarterback Mac Jones with this pick. However, they switched it around and they picked Trey Lance. Trey Lance only had 1 great year of production during his time at North Dakota State, and what I mean by that is he didn't play many games in 2018. He only played 2, and he didn't play many games in 2020. He only played 1, but he would play 16 games in 2019, and he led the North Dakota State team to a 16-0 record. In addition, Trey Lance would pass for over 2,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Yes, 0 interceptions. You don't see that often in college football with a lot of quarterbacks. He would also run the ball for over 1,000 yards on 169 attempts for 14 touchdowns. In total, Trey Lance would have 42 touchdowns in 2019, while also leading that team to a 16-0 record and leading North Dakota State to an FCS championship game where they would win it, beating James Madison 28-20. Trey Lance was not expected to start immediately. As I said before, Trey Lance was raw and inexperienced, so the 49ers wanted him to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year before he was officially ready. Trey Lance would not see a lot of huge action in his first few weeks in the NFL, but he would come in like in a Taysom Hill role where the 49ers are using him as that mobile quarterback option so he can score like in a goal line situation. So, like I said, not a lot of huge action. Trey Lance would see his first significant playing time against the Seahawks after Jimmy Garoppolo got injured. He would go 19 for 18 for 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. He would also run the ball 7 times for 41 yards as well. he would make his first official start against the Cardinals, where he went 15 for 29 for 192 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also ran the ball 16 times for 89 yards as well. Trey Lance would have his best game in Week 16, coming in for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo, going 16 for 23, passing the ball for 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while also running the ball 8 times for 31 yards as well. Trey Lance would be named the starter for the 49ers coming into the 2022 season. However, he would suffer a season-ending ankle injury against the Seahawks in Week 2 that would put him out for the rest of the season. And coming into the 2023 season, Trey Lance would have a bit of uncertainty around him. Brock Purdy had just came out of nowhere and led the 49ers all the way to the conference champion, and they just signed former Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold. Towards the end of the preseason, Brock Purdy would be named the starter, Sam Darnold would be named the backup quarterback, and Trey Lance was now named the third-string quarterback for the 49ers. Trey Lance obviously didn't want this, and he was traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th-round pick, where he was once again named the third-string quarterback. Trey Lance just had a very unfortunate start to his career in the first place. In his rookie year, he had to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo. In his second year, he finally got his chance and got injured. In his third year, he basically was in a situation where another quarterback just came out of nowhere and outplayed him, and he once again lost his spot. Trey Lance, in the end, though, may still have time to be a starter in the league, but like I said, just a very unfortunate start to his career in the first place. Justin Fields will be the next quarterback taken 11th overall by the Chicago Bears after they traded a future first-round pick away to the New York Giants in order to get this pick. Now we all know the story of Justin Fields, originally committed to the University of Georgia, transferred to Ohio State. That is where his career officially got started. Fields will lead the Buckeyes to a 13-1 record in 2019, where he passed the ball for over 3,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He also ran the ball for 484 yards and 10 touchdowns as well. Unfortunately, his team would lose their first game against Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl, coming up short 29-23 in that game. 2020, the Big 12 season was shortened, and so was Justin Fields' stats. However, he still put up great numbers, passed the ball for over 2,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, rushed the ball for over 383 yards as well, and 5 touchdowns with a 71 record. He would also get a revenge against Clemson in the playoffs, where Fields passed the ball for 385 yards and 6 touchdowns, leading his team to a 49-28 victory. He would, however, lose to Alabama in the championship game, where they lost 52-24. Coming into his rookie year with the Bears in 2021, he was named the second-string quarterback behind Andy Dalton. He also ended up winning his first start, going 11 for 17 for 209 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Fields would then be named starter for the rest of the season, where in the game against the Raiders, he went 12 for 20 for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Fields would finish season 2-8 as a starter, where he passed the ball for over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, where he also ran the ball for 420 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. He took a huge jump up in his second year in the league, however, as he passed the ball for over 2,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. But it was his rushing game that everybody could not stop talking about. He ran the ball for over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, even setting the record for most rushing yards in the game by a quarterback against the Dolphins that year as well. To this point, I think Fields performed like a borderline top 15 quarterback, which is okay, but you obviously want him to be a little bit better. I think there is some stuff he still can improve on, but I don't think he's been the worst quarterback I've ever seen, and not even close to it. Seeing so far what he can do when he has a competent receiver in DJ Moore, which he's had an absolute great connection with this season so far. Justin Fields is going to have to prove to the Bears that he needs to be the quarterback for the future. As you may remember, the Bears currently have the Panthers' first overall pick, and right now they're in position to get Caleb Williams or even Drake May. As I said, I don't think Fields is a horrible quarterback. I've seen a lot worse, but unfortunately, it's not for me to prove. He's not to prove to the Bears that he's their franchise guy, or else Caleb Williams or Drake May will be their next quarterback. As you may remember, the Bears passed up on a chance in 2023 to draft both Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. So you gotta ask yourself, will they do it again in 2024 and pass up on another quarterback option? Time will tell for Justin Fields if they decide to do that. The final quarterback taken in the first round of the 2021 NFL draft would be Alabama quarterback Mac Jones, taken 15th overall by the New England Patriots. Aside from probably Trey Lance, Mac Jones is quite possibly going into the best situation for any quarterback in this draft. He was going to play for Bill Belichick, the same coach who coached Tom Brady for almost 2 decades. So basically, he was going to get the same mentorship and the same learning process that Tom Brady got during his time with the Patriots. Mac Jones had a great rookie year with the Patriots as he went 10-7 as a starter, passing the ball for over 3,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He would also clinch a playoff berth that year as well, but unfortunately, they would get blown out by the Bills in that game. However, in 2022, Mac Jones would regress a lot this season. He was benched for Bailey Zappi a couple times, and not only that, he suffered an ankle sprain that would keep him out for a few games this season as well. He would end the season passing the ball for almost 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Keep in mind though who he had as his play callers: Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, two of the worst coaches I've ever seen. Currently, life for Mac Jones is currently not getting any better. He's currently 2-8 as a starter, and he's passed the ball for over 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Like I said, it seems like everything is falling apart for Mac Jones at this point. There's rumors that he's lost the locker room. There's rumors that the Patriots are going to put him down to third string quarterback for the rest of the season. And there's rumors that the Patriots obviously want to draft another quarterback. And there's rumors obviously that Bill Belichick might be having his last season with the Patriots. If I had to honestly give my opinion on it, honestly, I think the writing is on the wall for Mac Jones. I think his time as a starter for the Patriots might be over. He showed so much promise in his rookie year, but then every year after that, he proceeded to basically just regress almost every year. It's just been a bad team all around, Coaching sucks, the offensive line sucks, Mac Jones has not been good, and then the weapons have also been pretty bad. Regardless though, it seems like the writing is on the wall for Mac Jones.